1970, Richard Nixon was the President of the United States, and Elvis Presley was the king of rock and roll. They were an unlikely pair who came together and broke all the rules when Elvis wrote a letter that rocked the White House.
Dear Mr. President, first, I would like to introduce myself. I am Elvis Presley, and admire you and have a great respect for your office.
It was the night of December 21st, 1970. Elvis Presley was on an airplane doing something that no one had ever seen him do before, writing a letter.
He was not a letter writer. No, there are very, very, very few letters that Elvis ever wrote. I can't think of a time I ever saw him sitting down writing a letter. So this is really exceptional.
Elvis was traveling with his best buddy Jerry Schilling. They were on a flight to Washington, D.C.
Elvis's body language and intensity, I knew he was doing something important. And don't forget, I didn't know. I wasn't going to look at the letter he was writing unless he asked me to.
The king was writing a letter to the president, Richard Nixon, and nothing was going to stop him.
When he got something in his head, he went on a mission. And this was a mission.
It turns out the sexy swivel-hipped rock and roller was all shook up about drugs.
I talked to Vice President Agnew in Palm Springs 3 weeks ago and expressed my concern for our country. The drug culture, the hippie elements, the SDS, Black Panthers, etc., do not consider me as their enemy, or as they call it, the establishment. I call it America, and I love it. He was concerned about our country. He was concerned about it turning into a drug culture. He was concerned about kids and teenagers.
Ironically, Elvis may have already begun what would become a mortal struggle with his addiction to prescription drugs, which may have even motivated him to make the unusual request. The world's most high-profile performer was asking to become a secret agent. And more importantly, he wanted the badge that goes with it.
We came in contact with a lot of police officers when we were on tour. And he was fascinated with these badges, and he started collecting them. This became the ultimate badge for Elvis to get.
The moment they touched down in Washington, D.C., Elvis had his limo make an unscheduled stop outside the front gates of the White House.
So he jumps out of the limousine, and they don't know who it is. Elvis's hair was a little long at that time, and he has a cape, and he pulls the letter. I mean, who knows what he's pulling out of his pocket? And the White House security were like, I could see there was a problem. So I jump out the limousine and said, "Excuse me, this is Mr. Presley. He just wants to drop a letter off to the president."
I was sitting at my desk, and I got a phone call. "Bud, are you sitting down?" And I said, "Yeah, I think so. What's up?" He said, "Well, the king is here." And I looked down at my desk where I had the list of people the president was to see that day. I said, "Well, there are no kings on his schedule. What do you mean?" He said, "No, not just any two-bit king, the king of rock."
Within minutes, the letter reached Nixon's inner circle.
It's on American Airlines stationery, about 5 pages in length. It looked like the script was a little bit labored with a rather liberal use of capital letters throughout the letter.
There were certain grammatical mistakes, punctuation mistakes, but damn it, it was in Elvis Presley's handwriting, right from his heart.
I will be here for as long as it takes to get the credentials of a federal agent. I am glad to help, just so long as it is kept very private. You can have your staff or whomever call me anytime, today, tonight, or tomorrow. I would love to meet you, just to say hello if you're not too busy.
Within hours of receiving the letter, the president invited Elvis into the White House. Now for the king, it was showtime.
He was dressed in tight-fitting purple pants and a white silk shirt open down to his navel with a gold medallion there, and he had very thick glasses with EP on the nose glasses. It was an unusual outfit for someone about to go in to meet the president. I mean, he could have performed right on the spot.
After formal introductions, Elvis got to the business of his letter and asked for the crime-fighting badge of his dreams.
I said, "Mr. President, you want to get him a badge? We can get him a badge." He said, "Well, we'll see that he gets one." Well, when Elvis heard this, he stepped around and he grabbed the president and gave him a hug. Now, president hugging was not the norm in the Nixon White House.
This was something that was very, very personal to him. The fact that he met him and he got the credentials, and it was important to him. Why so important? I think that he felt that he had these credentials, he had this badge, that he could change the thinking process of kids who are on drugs or people who we knew that were on street drugs, and do something about it.
They were two men as different as their haircuts, brought together by one letter from the heart.
I was nominated this coming year, one of America's 10 most outstanding young men. That will be in January 18th in my hometown of Memphis, Tennessee. I believe that you, sir, were one of the top 10 outstanding men of America also. Respectfully, Elvis Presley.
Not all letters arrive in an